Now, I was doing some reading on one of Howard Marks's memos. We talked about Howard Marks on a previous show. I think you can go back and see the information we had on him, kind of as a legendary investor. I was reading one of his memos on the flight home from the Money Show in Toronto. Now, I found the subject matter, which basically amounts to the futility of macro forecasts. It spoke to me. We had both just attended financial conferences at which economists and investors made a multitude of economic and specific market-related macro forecasts. It was one of the first in-person events that I had attended in quite some time, and many of the talks opened by highlighting the abnormalities experienced over the past 2+ years. At one of the presentations that I had attended, the host spoke about how crazy the economic environment had been since the start of 2020. We experienced a totally unpredictable global pandemic, unprecedented government handouts and resulting debt increases, a massive spike in inflation, rapid rate increases, the rise and volatility of digital assets, and the war in Ukraine were just some of the events cited. Throwing his hands into the heavens, he stated that even the Almighty would have had a hard time predicting all these basically unpredictable events. The panelists, as well as the crowd, had a huge laugh. What I assume could only be a combined chuckle designed to let everyone off the hook for the macro forecasts and subsequent investments based off those forecasts that these events had not only rendered useless, but had helped turn them into steaming dog turds in their portfolios. But then the chuckling died down and the presenter blissfully moved forward with a whole new set of bold macro forecasts. Immediately, the audience, and never fail, raised their iPhones to snap up each bold prediction about everything from where inflation will be in the next year to the direction of the housing market, the price of gold, Bitcoin, and where the US dollar will be in 2023. So the same people whose models were proven wrong were back at it, working hard, or in some cases hardly working, in my opinion, to provide the audience with a whole new set of macro predictions. And the same crowd which used those flawed macro forecasts to dismal results was eagerly lapping up the new macro forecast and laughing away the last several years. As I looked around the room, I found myself wondering how it appeared that most were missing the utter insanity of this. Now, they say the definition of insanity is repeating the same mistakes over and over without learning from our mistakes, recognizing what does not work from a probability perspective. We are doomed to continually make the same mistakes. But this is the engine of the financial industry at work. Macro forecasts provide the illusion of knowledge and control. If spoken with conviction by talented, intelligent professionals, they are calming and provide more importantly saleable. Now, if these macro forecasters went on stage and in most cases truthfully said, I don't have a reliable or actionable way of accurately predicting where inflation, interest rates, or the price of gold will be next month, in 1 year, or 5 years from now, you're less likely to buy their fund, ETF, or trading program. Investors are just as guilty for buying into the illusion of macro forecasts. These saleable lies the industry feeds investors, which most find comfort in, and the cycle continues. Now, I would submit that the fact that the list of events, the pandemic, government response, fast rate hikes, etc., was so extensive, does this not show the complete folly of macro forecasts? In fact, if they can just be derailed so simply by unpredictable events, which are quite frequent, they should be rendered useless. In his memo, Marks made another great example. I will quote or paraphrase from him here. So in the fall of 2016, there were two massive consensus macro forecasts. Number one, Hillary Clinton would win the election. Number two, somehow if Trump was elected, the markets would tank. So what actually happened? Trump won and the market soared. Should this not help convince investors of the complete lack of value in macro forecasts? Now, next week, I'm going to summarize Mark's arguments on the futility of macro forecasts, but I think that's enough for my sandbox speech here for today.